is the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Celebrity Afterlife Report, the only show that gives you the up-to-the-minute gossip about all your favorite-to-see celebrities. I'm your host, the Celebrity Medium. We have some juicy stuff to tell you about this week, so let's get right to it. On last week's report, I told you about Smokin Joe Frazier's confusion when he was told that as there is no need for money in the next world, he didn't need to develop a product like the George Foreman Grill to make a living. In response, Joe said in that case, he would have to think about what he wanted to do with his new existence. I am now informed that, at least for the short term, the champ need not worry about how to spend his time because John Wayne has ridden to his rescue. Although I haven't had any updates to pass on to you in recent weeks, regular listeners to the report know that the Duke has been working on producing a remake of the original Terminator movie in which he will star in the role Arnold Schwarzenegger made famous. Afterlife showbiz observers have loudly ridiculed the project, not only because Wayne has never starred in that kind of movie before, but also because he has invited what seems like every celebrity who has arrived in the next world to be in the movie. Despite the criticism, however, the Best Actor Oscar winner seems to be doubling down on his multi-star strategy. I can now confirm that Joe Frazier will be in the Terminator remake. In what part, however, I do not as yet know. Also, there is a rumor that Wayne's version of the movie will be a comedy in the style of the classic farce Airplane, although that is as yet unconfirmed. One of my Afterlife sources has seen an early script for the film and says that whether or not this is Wayne's intention, this movie is going to be a farce of epic proportions. All is not well in Garlandia. That's the name I gave to the all-woman community actress Judy Garland has been trying to build in the next world, although she calls it New Garland. Regular listeners to the report know that Garland, soured on men after her multiple failed marriages on the earthly plane, vowed to create a, quote, safe space for women in a town in which no males would be allowed to live. Her plans ran into trouble when she couldn't find enough male construction workers to build it for her. To her rescue came Fred Trump, father of the Donald, who loaned her some of his employees. All seemed to be going in well until Judy announced that she and Fred were going to be married. That did not sit well with some of the radical feminists who had been planning on taking up residence in New Garland. To make things worse, Garland announced that she and her hubby-to-be were going to run the town as co-mayors. That's when things really hit the fan. A few days ago, the Wizard of Oz star was making an appearance on a TV program hosted by the late Tom Snyder. No sooner had she taken her seat on stage for her interview when several women in the audience started booing and heckling her, calling her a traitor to their cause, etc. Snyder gamely tried to continue, but finally had to stop the show when the catcalling went on and on. I'm informed that Garland left the stage in tears and hasn't been seen in public since the incident. Astronaut Neil Armstrong was the first man in history to walk on the moon back in 1969. For someone with such an amazing achievement to his credit, Armstrong was incredibly humble and avoided the spotlight. He rarely gave interviews, and on the few occasions when he did grant one, he was very self-effacing. That seems to have changed now that he has been in the afterlife for a few years. A couple of weeks ago, I told you about Vince McMahon, father of the current chairman of World Wrestling Entertainment, who has the same name as his dad, and Senior's construction of a larger replica of Shakespeare's original Globe Theater, as well as his using deceased male wrestlers as actors in the Bard's dramas including in female roles. It has been reported to me that McMahon and Shakespeare had trouble recently casting for the role of Puck in an upcoming production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. It seems that Neil Armstrong read about their dilemma in a newspaper article and contacted the two to volunteer for the role. Now, although they were reportedly skeptical that the astronaut, who has no background in acting or any form of show business, could possibly fill the role, they did him the courtesy of allowing him to audition. To their amazement, he gave a great reading, barely referring to the script, as he had taken the time to memorize most of the part. Okay, you can probably guess where this is going. Shakespeare and McMahon hired Armstrong on the spot, and he will be appearing in the play in a few months' time. Another high-achieving man with no background in show business is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Like many residents of the next world, Dr. King has reportedly decided to spread his wings a bit and try something he never attempted on the earthly plane. The legendary civil rights activist has decided to become a soul singer. Word is that King is studying singing with Teddy Pendergrass and Otis Redding, famous singers in their own right. According to my sources, Pendergrass was quoted in a TV interview as saying that he and Redding were huge fans of King when they were all on the earthly plane and are amazed at how well he is taking to performing on stage. Once they were all well acquainted, Pendergrass and Redding took to calling him Doc Martin as a play on the name of the famous line of shoes. Word now is that King is seriously considering using that as his stage name. And that, my friends, will conclude this roundup of the most up-to-the-minute gossip about your favorite deceased celebrities. I will be back next week with another Celebrity Afterlife report. Please join me then, and in the meantime, tell your friends that the report can now be found on iTunes. I am the Celebrity Medium. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. To ask a question about your favorite deceased celebrity, call 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-369-3732.